What's up guys, James Blon here with MMOARPG. This time taking an early look at HeroWarz, the new Korean-style isometric action RPG developed by A.Storm and published in North America by KOG Games, so the same team behind L-Sword and previously Grand Chase. Now this game is definitely a dungeon crawler. It's a hack and slash game with waves and waves of enemies to face along the lines of Divillion and Marvel Heroes as an example. It's almost like a cross between Dungeon Fighter Online and Marvel Heroes. In fact, the CEO of A.Storm is Kim Yoon-jong, the same creator of Dungeon Fighter Online and Cyphers, and HeroWarz is almost an action RPG version of those games. So it took KOG Games a little while to get the game over to North America, but it is finally here in closed beta for a short time. Let's check it out. Starting out the game, you've got your choice of 5 characters with very different playstyles. There will be 15 heroes in the game, and probably more later on, but we're limited to 5 here in the closed beta. And for now, we've got Ara, the Lolly type, who is a combination of melee and ranged attacks, seeing that her weapon is a water gun, or water cannon rather, and with it she's a straight line nuker, so she's really strong when enemies are lined up in front of her, and she's also capable of providing buffs to her party members. So it's really good to have her on your team. You can check out some of the illustrations here. These are often what you see pop up for NPC conversations and certain attacks in-game. And you can get a bit more information on each character when you click on the view story. Plus, it looks like you'll get a preview to the class here, but obviously that's not incorporated in this version just yet. Next you have Audry, the ex-military mercenary that loves operating military firearms. So her arsenal includes assault rifles, submachine guns, shotguns, rocket launchers, and mines. And later on, you actually get to use more futuristic weaponry like battle drones and satellite lasers and all kinds of stuff like that. So needless to say, she is ranged, but at the same time, she also has decent escape mechanics. She's pretty easy to play, and out of the 2 characters that I actually had the chance to spend some time with, she's definitely my favorite. But if you're looking to go more melee, traditional hack and slash style, then you've got B here. B as in Blade, which is his nickname, I guess. He wields dual blades and focuses on quick flurry attacks and a bit of crowd control, not much. He's got one ability that he can use to group enemies together in a straight line and then rush through them with another ability, like a skewer, and then smashes them down at the end. It's actually a very satisfying ability. His mechanics overall are kind of satisfying, especially if you like melee. Not to mention his artwork is pretty badass, as you can tell. Then again, most of the artwork in the game is actually kind of cool. Next we have Nagne, another melee plus aerial attack hero who uses a 2-handed sword and scabbard. He's actually very good in combination with Audry in my opinion, in that he has abilities that lift enemies into the air, which is specific because Audry has an ability that you get fairly early on in the game that lets her target enemies with a shotgun at mid-range that are floating in the air, or as they get pushed up into the air. It deals a lot more damage that way, so it's a nice combination. And finally we have Derek, the brawler, who uses nothing but his fists and a shield to crush his enemies. It's kind of a cool concept there. But the coolest part about his abilities is that as he kills enemies, it becomes faster for him to perform other abilities. So his skill usage is high speed and continuous. And I wanted to mention that it doesn't seem to be limited on how many characters you can create, so you can create one of each character. And there is customization options, just so you know, in terms of costumes and cosmetic items, but you don't actually get to see those until you're a little later into the game. Plus, we have a feeling that costumes and cosmetic items are going to be a big part of the cash shop, but that's not exactly available here in the closed beta. The good news is, once they have all 15 plus classes to play as, they're going to be free for everyone to play right from the start. So there's no unlocking classes, whether it be using money or grinding in the game. So once you choose your character, you're shown a tutorial which actually introduces you to your first few abilities. It genuinely levels you up. It's part of the game. And then of course you've got movement that shows you. Now it does give you the choice to use the keyboard, just the keyboard, whereas the movement is based on W, A, S, and D, though you still use the mouse for abilities, or mouse and keyboard if you want to use the mouse to actually move around like you would in, say, Path of Exile, as an example. Either way you choose, the controls in the game are fantastic in my opinion. You've got so many skills to work with, and a lot of the time, in action games especially, having a piano's worth of keys to press for your skills is not at all fun. But this game decides where to bind each skill as it unlocks, as you level up, and It may show up on a random key binding, but it works perfectly in that regard, and you'll just have to see what I'm talking about whenever you play the game. As an example, with Audry, you've got abilities that essentially activate a mode or charge up a blast, kind of like this here, and this option as well. These are on the number keys, which is very intuitive for those type of abilities. And then you have the mouse wheel up or down for your mind abilities. Using the mouse wheel up or down for abilities is awesome. I mean, it feels right. I'm really glad they decided to use that instead of just another keyboard binding, which is definitely the case if you have a mouse from the 90s or something that, you know, that doesn't have a mouse wheel. I don't know who does that, but yeah, if you don't have a mouse wheel, which is weird, you can use Q and E and several other keys instead. Left click is your basic attack, which might actually grow as you level up, like it does in the case of B. The combo of his sword flurry increases, but it's all done on the basic attack left click mouse button, so you just have to hold it longer in a lot of cases. Right click is perfect for abilities like dashes, so both Audry and B have a dash ability bound to it. Audry's dash is more of a get out of harm's way only, while B's gets you out of harm's way while doing damage, and if you hold it, you get this lovely damage over time monster. Lining those up are very satisfying. So some abilities you hold to charge down for a lot more devastating effects. And then you have abilities on spacebar as well as both right and left click mouse buttons. Oh yeah, this one here is pretty beast. Really eats up mana though. But again, surprisingly, all of the abilities are easily accessible, so despite having 10 plus abilities by the time you're like level 20 or so, the only thing you really have to worry about is forgetting you have some of these abilities. Not that they're hard to work with control-wise. That's what I gathered anyway. So the game is set up so that you jump into mission after mission, and you go back to the hub town whenever you want to. Nothing really brings you back to the hub town unless you want to party up with others, sell stuff from your inventory, socialize, or buy high-end gear. Like really high-end gear. I've got to admit, there are some really odd things in this game, like the fact that you can just literally slap other players whenever you want. Or, if you're feeling up to it, you can also mount other players by pressing F9. It's kind of weird. Not really sure what that's for other than hitching a ride by force and looking strange while doing so, but you can do it, and that's what matters. Probably good that they don't have this stuff in Marvel Heroes. It's already awkward enough in this game. And with that said, you can also get mounts in this game, of course. Now, besides the fact that they were almost as weird as what I just showed you, like pretty much all of them will have you saying WTF. Like, for example, I'm riding around on a fish cart, and this guy is on the back of a Bulbasaur-inspired bear. And some of the things that these characters are sitting on are actually mounts, not just chairs. The mounts are also the way you party up. So, once you mount up, people will hop on, or in my case, into my cart, and they join your party that way. Kind of an interesting way of doing things if you ask me, and at this point in the game I don't actually see a purpose for a mount other than that, and of course showing off weird and special ones, I suppose. So like I was saying earlier, your abilities automatically level up and get added to your hotbar as you level up your character, but one cool system in this game is the way your gear can augment your existing abilities, adding things to them or buffing them up in some sort of way. So the basics of the gear system are pretty standard. You've got your armor items, accessories, and your weapon. All have their own sort of stats, and I believe there's like 6 stats. Later on, you get costumes that are purely cosmetic, and they're not going to have any stats on them. And as you can see right away, you've also got different rarities of items, purple being the most rare, blue is premium in this game, and then you've got your common items. Each piece of gear has its own stats on it, like I mentioned, which is varying depending on the type and rarity, but if you notice, in this weapon comparison here, there are passives and actives, sort of, that augment your abilities or provide you with extra passives when you have that gear equipped, besides just the stat differences, of course. So here I've got Rage, which helps me out by dealing more damage as I take damage for 3 seconds, and it stacks. And below that, I've got an augmentation to my Photon ability that creates a tornado at the point where this skill impacts and does damage over time. Now the cool part about that is that it pulls enemies towards the impact site. So with this augmentation, adding the tornado, you've got a gravity bomb, so to speak, that pulls into a damage-dealing tornado. It's quite effective. The idea here is that you do want to upgrade your gear based on level and relative effectiveness, but sometimes you might actually want to hold on to some gear just so that way you have augmented skills that fit your playstyle. The premium gear typically has these, and the rare gear has it as well, but more likely to have more than just one like you see here. So once you get an entire outfit of rare gear, your abilities are probably going to be pretty beasts, and you'll also have a couple of extra passives that you wouldn't have otherwise. Now, another system in the game that's kind of similar to systems in Dungeon Fighter Online, and if you play the game you'll know what I'm talking about, is the companion system, and I don't mean pets. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage to show you guys on this, but it's essentially an AI helper summoning system that starts up for mid-level characters, and apparently you can call one of these sidekicks down, and they slam into the area wherever you target them, and they either do a crap ton of damage, help you out by restoring your health and mana, or they chain CC enemies, just to name a few examples. Each sidekick has a cost to them in order to use them, to keep things balanced of course, and I can probably imagine they also have a really long cooldown. But with that said, you can also have 4 at a time available to you to use whenever, if you meet the level requirements to unlock the slots and acquire them, however you acquire them. I'm not really sure. I've unlocked 1 slot, but I haven't been able to acquire any yet. They might have some in the cash shop, we don't know that yet, or they might just show up as drops in late game. Not quite sure. The system doesn't seem to be implemented in this version of the game just yet. Same thing goes for the cash shop itself. Not implemented just yet, but from what Dizzy PW was telling me after talking to KOG Games, everything in the shop is going to be focused around cosmetics specifically, and some convenience items. Basically look at HeroWarz cash shop, and that'll give you an idea and a good understanding of what you'll find in HeroWarz. And the last thing I was going to talk about in this video, because I've pretty much shown you everything I'm able to show you for now, early game anyway, is the PvP, which I'm also not able to show you because it too isn't in the game just yet. But based on what Dizzy PW found out from KOG Games, the PvP is actually in the middle of a massive overhaul. In fact, when compared to the Korean version of the game, this version of the game has been considered a reboot from the developers because they've taken away and added in brand new versions of systems and mechanics in this game. So PvP won't likely be available in this version of the game until later this fall, but basically it's going to be a MOBA style, except with a crazy kicker. Your PvP characters are entirely separate from your PvE characters. So if you become a total badass on the PvE side of things, whether it be through grinding through it like a boss or through the cash op, let's hope not, it won't matter because you won't be using that character to crush people in PvP. And at the same time, they do plan on rewarding specific things that correspond with your PvE characters, like companions for example, or things along that line. And likewise, you'll unlock PvP characters by playing some of the PvE content. So it seems like they're going to have some good incentives for playing both aspects of the game. Anyway guys, like I said, that's about all I've got to show you for this video. Overall, the game definitely has my attention. If you're a fan of DFO or Marvel Heroes, I can probably guarantee that you're going to have some fun in this game. Once more features are finished and implemented, we're going to be able to get a better overall picture of how this game is. But even as it stands now in the closed beta, it's fast-paced, challenging, and definitely fun to play. Like I said, the controls are intuitive. It's got some really cool dialogue, which will be even better if they're able to translate it over to English like they did recently with Elsword. Either way, guys, the game is definitely worth trying. Hopefully we can get some more closed beta keys to give you guys for the next closed beta test, which should be soon. It all comes down to player feedback as to when it'll be back up. And on a side note, at the moment the game's only been available for North America, Australia, and New Zealand, but KOG Games is focusing on a more or less global launch for HeroWarz. So as they go along, they're going to open it up to more regions, starting with Europe and moving over to South America. So definitely hang in there. Thanks for watching, guys. Pick up more information about the game at the game profile at MMOHuts.com, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I don't say that enough. Until next time, guys, that's going to be it for me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.